It's decorating with Dunkin'.
Hey, your desk looks great. Really festive with all the decorations.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, this Dunkin' Peppermint Mocha Latte gave me a little pick-me-up, and I decided to go for it.
Whoa, you even lined your desk drawers with musical lights?
Yep, and look what's inside. A Dunkin' Gingerbread S'mores Latte for you.
Get holiday in at Dunkin' with a $2 medium latte, cappuccino, or Americano from 2 to 6 p.m. The holidays run on Dunkin'. Price and participation may vary. Limited time offer.
Hey, now, what's that smell? Just like cornbread done too well. What you need, you know I got. So hands up, who wants to rock?
Happy holidays, metal faithful. It is I, the mandated reporter, and frankly, I'm mortified, Mr. Mark Radulich. And this is the Metal Hammer of Doom. And boy, do we have some Christmas cheer for you. This is the last episode of 2019. It's our very last Metal Hammer of Doom show before the new year. We'll start a whole new year of Metal Hammer of Dooms in 2020. We've got some fun stuff planned. But in the meantime, this is our last actual released in 2019 album review for the year. And we've picked an interesting one. I kind of fell ass backwards into it because Life of Agony released a new album, The Sound of Scars. And it's actually a chapter 2. It acts as the chapter 2 to the classic, one of the great albums, River Runs Red, which came out in 1993. It's the almost 30-year journey of Life of Agony from River Runs Red to The Sound of Scars, which came out at the end of October. Joining me on this journey, what we're going to do tonight is we're actually going to review River Runs Red, which is personally one of my favorite albums of all time. It is like my top 5. I adore The River Runs Red. If someone said, "Hey, I've never really listened to metal before, what should I listen to?" This is what I would give them. It's one of the ones I would give them. It is amazing. It's like Clutch, and then The River Runs Red by Life of Agony. So we're gonna do a double review tonight, and that's your Christmas present, or your Hanukkah present, or your Mad Kwanzaa present, or it's just a fucking podcast for you atheists.
Mad Kwanzaa?
Mad Kwanzaa.
All right, then.
I like to be inclusive and wish people a Mad Kwanzaa.
I don't blame you. That's good stuff.
Okay, that person wondering if I've just made a racist remark is Jesse Starcher. How do you do, sir?
Doing great, sir. This is going to be... man, you talk about Christmas cheer. This is going to be kind of the antithesis of that.
What do you mean? A River Runs Red is so good.
It is, but your subject matter is going to be...
It's just a little suicidal. A little suicidal.
Just a little on the suicidal part of things. I mean, it is an examination of a very troubled person, I guess. And was watching a few interviews and a few reviews regarding The Sound of Scars, and they did a making of. So the guys were talking about how a lot of what is represented in the journey that this person that the albums focus on, a lot of that is pieces of the band members and have stuff that's happened to them. So that's number one. These two albums are very, very. What's the best word to describe it, Mark? I mean, emotional is the word that's coming to mind. That's not the right word, though. It's almost depressing in what you hear, but it's real.
Yeah.
So it's very real. And this is, Life of Agony is, if one thing, they are very honest. A lot of what comes through in their songwriting and the music that they put out there, it's something that's genuine. So, River Runs Red, 26 years ago, we was just talking about it before we got on here. That was an album that I came to way late. This is a band I heard way late, so I'm talking probably maybe 2006 or 7 is when I first heard Life of Agony. They'd been around, obviously, for quite a while, and I think they had just reunited in 2005 or 2004, so could be a little bit earlier than that. But either way, it was right around that time. But I remember listening to River Runs Red and being very impressed with what I was hearing, for at that time being over a decade old. So this will be a fun journey. I'm ready to go whenever you are, man. Whatever else you got to say, I'm ready to hop on into it.
I think so. Our 2-part, and we're gonna do. This is one long podcast. So if you're looking at the time, and you're like, Jesus, this went on forever. It's because we're doing 2 albums tonight.
That's right.
We're ending with a bang. There's no Christmas episode this year. This is it. This is your Christmas episode. A River Runs Red, jolly full of Christmas. No? All right.
Nope.
All right. So The River Runs Red, which came out October 12th, 1993, which, just real quickly, I was a contemporary fan of Roadrunner Records, the bands that came out of there, the metal, the modern metal of the time. And so, along with Pantera, Sepultura, Machine Head, VOD, Vision of Disorder, which were local guys that, had got one of those that jumped on one of the labels at the time. Might have actually been Roadrunner, and got some minor notoriety. I was big into that scene of metal, and along comes from Roadrunner Records, Life of Agony, which I found almost immediately, instantly fell in love with it, and became, like I said, one of my favorite albums of all time. River Runs Red is a concept album that focuses on suicide while also exploring the themes of abuse, alcoholism, and abandonment. So here's the story. You like a good story, Jesse.
Oh, I love it.
So here's the story. Now, when we play the album, we're going to do track by track like we normally do, but we're going to cut the skits, just as we're going to do on the new album. We're going to cut the skits, and people are like, but for why? Because as you know, we're, legally we should, in terms of a review, we can only play portions of things, and portions of a skit don't make any sense. But if you go back and listen to these in their entirety, listen to them with the skits, and you get a full sense of the story here. The album opener this time reveals the main character's father walked out on the family and started a new life with a new wife. The album's first interlude, Monday, establishes that the main character's mother is verbally abusive and neglects her baby. The track ends with the character listening to a voicemail where his girlfriend has broken up with him. The title track, The River Runs Red, which is 90 seconds of fucking fury. It was Fucking Hostile by Pantera, River Runs Red by Life of Agony. I never slit my wrists, so I don't know why I identify with the song so much, but goddamn, those were my jams back in the day. River Runs Red shows that the main character has suicidal tendencies with the opening line, "I got the razor at my wrist, and I can't resist." On Thursday, the main character enters his home and is berated once again by his mother. The song ends with him being fired from his job and is notified that he is failing 2 classes at school. And he missed 2 classes and there's no homework.
It's a different song. Wait a second.
But his teacher teaches class like he's some kind of jerk.
Some kind of jerk. Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Poor guy. The track people are just like, fuck you, Radulich. You say you love Life of Agony, and you're doing some jerky Beastie Boys shit. My apologies, Ring of Saturn fans. The track My Eyes shows the main character has all but made up his mind about committing suicide. The album closes with the track Friday. The main character comes home and the insults from his mother are the worst they have ever been. Yeah, this is rough to listen to. The mother starts a fight with the father, who engages her in a yelling match and starts breaking stuff in the kitchen as the kid heads upstairs.
Don't destroy my kitchen!
The sound of plates breaking can be heard. The main character locks himself in the bathroom with his mother yelling at him through the door. The main character steps into the bathtub, turns on the water as his breath becomes shaky. The teenager slits his wrists, and the sound of blood can be heard dripping into the water. The mother breaks into the bathroom and starts screaming in horror at the sight of her dead son. The album ends with the sound of blood dripping into water.
Man, oh man.
So in 2017, Rolling Stone named River Runs Red the 58th greatest metal album of all time. See, I'm not crazy.
That's right.
In May 2005, River Runs Red was inducted into the Decibel Magazine Hall of Fame, being the 4th album overall to be featured in the Decibel Hall of Fame. All right. Are you ready? Because it's this time, baby.
I am ready, buddy. Let's rock and roll.
Are you ready for the underground? Okay, we're going to start with this time.
Sure.
Is the river running red? Just all right.
Get on with it, Radulich.
Here we go, folks. The best album ever this time. Oh, Jesse, you ain't got time for me.
Ain't got time. You ain't got time. Boy, that's a great opener right there. 6 minutes long. I watched a guy today. It was so funny. He was doing a YouTube reaction to this song. Okay, now granted, I don't know if this is the first time he acted like it was the first time he ever heard it, and it was like the most low budget react video I've ever seen, where the guy sets up his camera and he's eating Cheetos while he's listening to the song. And anyway, he talks about how it starts off. It starts off kind of what he felt like was punk influenced, and then all of a sudden it just really slows down to this almost doom sound.
Yeah.
And yeah, I really do like this opener. It's obviously the song again. Every single one of these songs is going to be heavy. One of the things you're not going to get from Life of Agony is maybe something that feels like it has a positive bent to it. It's really it's really all life has taken a shit right in your Cheerios, and you have to figure out a way to deal with it. And this is a song about this guy's relationship with his dad, who, there's not much of a relationship there, obviously. I noticed that the lyrics to every song, according to the Wikipedia, was written by Alan Robert, which is the bassist of the band. So now that doesn't mean that it's the songs weren't influenced by Mina and everything that's happened with her. But there's another thing that I just found interesting here when I clicked on Alan Robert. He's a comic book creator.
Oh, really?
Yeah, his work on his graphic novels, Wire Hangers, Crawl to Me, and Killogy, as well as his horror-themed adult coloring book. So, The Beauty of Horror is apparently what that's called. But so back to the song here. The album it's dropped in 93. Mina is born in 73. So you're going to see a lot of teen angst
that's what I wanted to talk about. So yeah. I'm probably a senior in high school when this comes out.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You're junior or senior.
And look, I'm not going to do the unauthorized biography of Mark Radulich, but I know that in my, by most of high school, I was a very angsty kid. I just had a chip on my shoulder, and I was mad. And albums like Vulgar Display of Power and The River Runs Red. River Runs Red, not The River Runs Red, really spoke to me. It was an outlet for all of my anger and resentments and frustrations. And every song, while I don't relate to it detail by detail, my dad just left my house.
Damn.
Yeah, still have a relationship with my parents, obviously. But excuse me. But whatever was going on with me at the time, this album spoke to me, and I wore this album out. I listened to it constantly. I saw these guys in concert a bunch. The thing that was always distinctive about Life of Agony for me, I mean, this album in and of itself, because it really digs its hands deep in those themes, whether they resonate with you detail by detail or in a very general way like they did with me. Life of Agony didn't sound like any other band. Mm-hmm. Neither did Typo Negative, for that matter, but that's a different podcast. And I think that's why I gravitated to them as much as I did, because of all the music that was coming out at that time, of this, re-emerging metal scene that was happening in the late 90s and then would turn into whatever the hell it turned into in the 2000s. I couldn't think of another band that sounded like Life of Agony, that had this weird combination of a very distinctive singing style from, at the time, quick disclaimer, I'm going to go back and forth between Keith and Mina, depending on which album I'm talking about. He was fucking Keith at the time.
Yeah.
So it's not a slur against transgender, Mina Caputo. I'm just trying to keep it straight in my head. So get a grip.
Yeah, I think it could be forgiven, especially if you grew up knowing the person as Keith. I'm sure that you, and you're referring to them at that point in time
right.
who they were.
Right. So if I say Keith Caputo, it's not because I refuse to recognize Mina as Mina. It's not the case. Go back to our last review of Life of Agony, where I was like doing backflips trying to be all inclusive and progressive about it. And respectful. Which is not my forte, by the way, as we all know.
That's right.
But Keith has a very distinctive singing style. It's very deep, very baritone, and very soulful. Like, these guys aren't just screaming. He is singing.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you have, the drummer who, is just punishing those drums, and they're very driving, and they're very hard, and it's, there's a rhythm to it, and he goes back and forth using the double bass, and then it's back to, using the single kick, and it's just amazing. And then, the bass plays such a heavy part of the rhythm of each song. So strong bass, strong drums, great guitar solos, and then this really distinctive voice, and you have magic in River Runs Red, like nothing I've ever heard before or will ever hear again. 26 years later, I can't think of another band that reminds me of Life of Agony. That certainly doesn't remind me of River Runs Red.
Mm-hmm. It's strange because you're right. This is a band that has its own unique sound, and it's a very powerful sound. When we hit the new album, I'm going to make comments that are almost the exact opposite.
Yup.
And I think
I have three words for you: Stone Temple Pilots.
Exactly.
I'm glad we're all on the same page. You ready to go underground, Jesse Starcher?
Let's hit it, buddy.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Who am I kidding? Gentlemen, we are the underground.
If you don't walk with me, I will walk alone. Yeah, yeah. If you don't walk with me, I will walk alone. Whoa!
Oh, underground, Jesse. If you don't walk with me, I will walk alone.
That's a good one right there, buddy. I was...
Picture like a small club full. It's the dead of winter, and we all have jackets on because it's Long Island, New York. Eastern Long Island, New York. Dead of winter. Small club. We're sweaty as fuck.
Yep.
And out walks Keith Caputo in this long fur coat. And Life of Agony takes the stage. I believe this was at the Roxy in Suffolk County, Long Island. And they started with Underground. And however many, I swear to God, this place could only hold like 50 people. But let's just go with it. 50 sweaty, fucking dead of winter metalheads are just shaking the foundation of the Roxy in Suffolk County, Long Island. All yelling Underground. Because it's amazing. By the end of that show, Keith Caputo utterly stripped of all his clothing. It was so goddamn hot. People were passing out.
I can imagine, dude. And probably some high knees.
There was no room to mosh. I mean, we tried. We beat the fuck out of each other.
That's great. That is great. That song right there. Oh, man. I don't know how you can't stop from, like, just bobbing your head along with the rest of that guitar.
Bob your head? How do you not want to start a mosh pit in your basement?
Well, I feel you there, sir. I almost got one started at work. Turned out the supervisor didn't like that too well.
That's okay. I told my wife, I was like, if you don't go see Poison with me, I will go alone. She's like, good fucking go.
Let me tell you, I wanted to tell you something.
Oh, did you?
I got a message from my wife this morning, okay?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So my wife sends me a message, and it's a picture that says Sunday, August 16th, 2020 at 4:30 p.m. Def Leppard, Motley Crue, Poison, Joan Jett,
right.
all at the PNC Park in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and apparently her friend is buying us 2 tickets to go watch this concert with her. So I will apparently be going to go watch that.
Good for you.
As well. They're coming up in August.
My
Good
wife
for me, man.
My wife may tell you to buy me a ticket, and then I will have to go to Pittsburgh.
Get yourself a plane ticket and hop on up here. She's tired of your shit.
All right, we gotta move this along here, but yeah, Underground just builds and builds and builds, and then it erupts into that chorus.
It's good stuff, man.
It's
good
so
stuff.
good. I don't even know how much of this next one I can play because it's so short. It's less than
Yeah, it
2 minutes
is. It's
long.
like 2 minutes. Yeah.
This is I said that it was 90 seconds. It's 1 minute and 55 seconds of pure fucking mayhem. This is just fury, just unadulterated, angry, frustrated, suicidal fury. This is one of my favorites. I don't know what that says about me. This River Runs Red.
Got the razor on my wrist 'cause I can't resist. I got the feeling from the fear that troubles always. But when I came downtown and she was around, I just know the kind of free and better place to be found. God help me. The river runs red and I didn't know. Hey, yeah. Well, I knew there'd come a day when my mind would say, hey, are you afraid? All I know is that I've been down here trying. Well, I bleed on through the night. I'm supposed to be down by the morning light. Don't be surprised if you mind when you found me. The river runs red and I think I'm dying. Oh, yeah. The river runs red and I think yeah.
That song may be about the unfortunate the unfortunateness of suicide, the selfishness of suicide. But I believe that song is almost a protest of that act.
Really?
It's so hyper. It's so aggressive. Like, that song, to me, I mean, maybe I'm getting it wrong, but, art is subjective.
Exactly.
But for me, I don't... Like, we've heard a lot of music that talks about self-harm, but it's always, like, almost wallowing in it. It's sad-sounding. It evokes very negative emotions. Other than maybe doing a circle pit and punching someone in the face, do you get negative from that song? Because I don't.
No, it's definitely not somebody that sounds like they are
pissing and moaning. They're
not.
This,
if anything, if somebody is going to take the pro-suicide approach, I guess, of this song, it's the fact that he is going to do it, and he'll be damned if anybody's going to stop him. And it's, I tell you, the song kicks all sorts of ass, and you just sit there and you think to yourself, you can't go home again. And that's what's unfortunate, because this is 1993. You wonder where the fuck this sound went. Where did this go?
Yeah.
Why does this just shine as the one Life of Agony album that we absolutely adore? Now, granted, I listened to a little bit of, oh my goodness, what was the other one there? Tell me, it wasn't the last album. What was the other album
Ugly?
we listened to? Yes. Ugly wasn't bad. There's a few songs on that one that are actually pretty decent.
Ugly was before they went off a cliff.
Yes. But I want more of this.
Yeah.
And
everyone did, Jesse.
I hate the fact that we don't get more of it, and this is just kind of one of those, well, here it is, and this is, clearly it deserves that spot on number 58 on that list, whatever list it was. But
so I've got the lyrics in front of me.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I want to be clear. I think the lyrics are very much someone narrating the story of their suicide, how it feels to get to the point where you feel the need to self-harm. But it's sonically, musically, I feel like musically the song stands in protest of that action, is what I was trying to get across.
I hear you. I do.
Because it's such an energetic song filled of life. This song says go. This song doesn't say stop and give up.
Imagine handing these lyrics to Pete Steele.
That would be a suicide letter.
He could do
River Runs Red as by Typo Negative goes a lot differently.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. I completely understand what you're saying.
I got the razor at my wrist because I can't resist. I got this fever, burning fist that does as I wish. But when I get downtown and I see what's around, I just know there's got to be a better place to be found. That's not fucking negative. That's not somebody saying I must kill myself. Suicide is the answer, little campers.
Well, it's that second part that makes me think that it's kind of like him trying to get over the fear of doing it. Because just like he says, well, I knew there'd come a day when my mind would say, hey, are you afraid? Well, all I know is that I've been down here trying. Well, I'll bleed on through the night. I'll suppose I'll be dead by the morning light. So don't be surprised if you mind when you find me. So that just makes me think okay, this is somebody that's obviously been thinking about it and has been too afraid to pull the trigger or do whatever.
And you could interpret I just know there's got to be a better place to be found as being the afterlife.
Yeah, or
so I get
something better. Yeah, the character in this album is dealing with so much negativity in their home life, and every time I listen to this it's such a sad circumstance that whoever is having to deal with this has to go through. You listen to him walk home, and I remember that as a kid. like walking into my house and being just absolutely afraid of what my parents might say. Now, granted, I did not have anything like the character in this album had, but every kid has that fear. Like, you don't want to go home and your dad be in a bad mood or your stepdad be in a bad mood, and you just got to kind of walk on eggshells for a little bit so you don't piss them off. This guy had it to the level where as soon as he walked in, he was just constantly being berated and, being told he's worth nothing. And it's so funny because in this album and the next album, our character doesn't say a word.
Yeah.
It's all completely silent, which is very, I guess it makes a big impact. Go ahead.
So the art of therapy is getting people who won't share their feelings or can't share their feelings or are incapable of sharing their feelings to talk, whether it's motivational interviewing, cognitive behavioral therapy, the whole training and the trick and the education that you get as a therapist is getting people who in a society that really puts you down for sharing your feelings, getting an entire society who are what's the word I'm looking for?
Closed off?
No, it doesn't matter. Getting an entire society who are ostracized for sharing their feelings to share their feelings. So when I hear that he doesn't talk, I think that's very thematic. I think that symbolizes what it's like to really to deal with people and this collective psychosis. Mm-hmm. But people didn't come here to hear my junior psychoanalysis of this album. They came here to say this album kicks fucking ass, man. So, just for the sake of time, River Runs Red is a fucking amazing song. It is just a shame it's only 2 minutes and not like an hour long.
It does end very abruptly to where I'm like, there's got to be another 2 minutes to this, and no, there's not. It's
so funny. Some of my favorite songs are like, I don't know what this says about my personality, but some of my favorite songs in the world are just too damn short. This, fucking Hostile by Pantera, Limp Bizkit's cover of Faith. Well, I guess it would be nice. It's over before it really begins. There's another one that's Wait and Bleed by Slipknot. And this is a pattern with me. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, that's interesting.
All right. Speaking of patterns, let's move on to the next one here. This is another classic, another concert great, another one that wants you get up and punch somebody in the face. This is Through and Through. So good.
We have not let up, man. Every track is just fucking gold, dude.
Yeah, it's a perfect album in my opinion. It's one of the few perfect ones. I mean, I would put this up against an Appetite for Destruction or any album where Nirvana's Nevermind. I know the Strong Opinion Squad thinks Nirvana is the worst thing rock music ever produced, but fuck those guys.
They're busy solving the world's problems. They don't have time for good music.
No, they do not. But yeah, Through and Through, man. That one is a banger.
Yeah.
I remember, like I said, I have very strong memories of hearing that one in concert, and it just whipping the crowd up into a frenzy. Because that's the thing with Life of Agony is their songs kind of oscillate between kind of a more groove, more slower, you know, and then they'll whip it up real fast and break it back down again. Through and through is a little bit longer than River Runs Red, but it just goes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, prime example of some really good Life of Agony right here in this song. There's, I think, 3 in my top 3. I believe this is number 3. I'm off of this album. There is, I know what my number 1 is, and I'm trying to remember if I sent you a message today, and it had that one in it.
Bad Seed.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So that's my number 1. I'm fairly certain. So I think the next one I really like too. So I don't know. Top 3, man. It's probably, I know for you, it's got to be number 1's got to be River Runs Red, right? We got another one.
Excuse me. All 4 of these, not necessarily in that order. River Runs Red, Through and Through, This Time, Underground. They're all Bad Seed, Methods of Groove. They're all fucking amazing.
Okay. Yeah, and I'm trying to think of which one's in the third one, but Through and Through is definitely a good one, man. Let's get to the next one.
Yep. Speaking of which, this is Words and Music. Yep, one of the lesser known Life of Agony songs. I don't know if it was ever one of their more popular ones. It's one that I like. It's one of those where it's like when you heard the rest of Life of Agony, it's like, yeah, that's a Life of Agony song.
Yeah.
You have Keith's distinctive vocals. One of the things I wanted to talk about real quick was there is a pitch change in the vocals. I'm not sure if it's the other band members providing like backup vocals, or if it's Keith changing his singing style. But he goes like a couple of octaves higher, and then back to that like baritone octave again, which I think is really cool because it's not that jarring. I think it's almost soulful. So he's got the do 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 do.
Yeah.
And I like that. It keeps the vocals interesting. It's not just the same thing. And I want to say again, these guys aren't screamers. This whole thing, I think, vocally, has a very sweet pitch to it.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a weird word to use when you're talking about something that's so deep. But even at the heaviest, at the harshest, like going back to River Runs Red. I mean, he's just going balls out on that song.
Yeah.
But it's all a sweet pitch. Like, he's not screaming it. You know what I mean? He's singing, he's belting. would be more an appropriate term. And then words and music, he's got kind of more of a guttural sound going, but his vocals are so smooth that even when he goes guttural, so parallel to this would be like the singer of Volbeat.
Okay. Yep.
Who also had a very distinct baritone, sweet sound to his vocals, and when he belted, he was like pitch perfect. So yeah. I think Keith Caputo and the singer of Volbeat, very, very similar.
I can hear you. Obviously, we've got a few, at least a decade in between those two vocalists. And production-wise, obviously, this one probably on the lower end of production. I mean, you can definitely hear everything. I'm just putting that out there. The lyrics of this song are something that I identify with, specifically about how music can keep somebody basically alive.
Sure.
That
resonates with me.
Yeah, that's something that I've identified with. That I like being able to lose myself in music and not have to think about the day's problems because it just helps. But the end of this song is one of the things that sticks out to me, where everything gets almost slows to a crawl in the song, and he's like, "I buried my friend just the other day," and he talks about how he's watching his friend who just died, and he isn't feeling anything, and then he realizes that at some point he's going to end up that way as well. And it's really sad, but
yeah.
Again, you're not coming out of this with a rosy disposition when you listen to this album.
It's so funny to hear you say that, because I hear this and I just get amped up, man. I just want to circle pin around my house, punch my daughter in the face, throw my son around, just mosh into my wife. Like, I just...
Oh, there he goes. Listen to that Life of Agony again.
This fucking leg dropped the coffee table.
And that's pretty interesting when you think about it. It's interesting that the feel of the album is almost a stark opposite of the lyrics. Aside from, the Monday, Thursday, Friday that we get throughout here, it's just, it's a different feel when you listen to it versus actually listening to the lyrics and understanding what's being said.
That's what I mean. I feel like musically, the song stands in defiance to the themes. Like, excuse me. The song is like a study. Take two. The album is a study in contrast.
Good point.
So while the lyrics are very downbeat and kind of depressing and, an exploration of the darker corners of our psyche, sorry, musically, this is all very like upbeat and rough and, and just in your face. And then you have Bad Seed coming up.
Oh, here we go.
Yes, indeed. Jesse's favorite one, Bad Seed.
baby. If I won't speak her name, if I won't praise her, praise, yeah. Maybe I'm to blame, maybe I'm to blame. Since you're gone, I never felt the same. Or maybe I'm just a bad seed. Well, the family, I'll get my single down tear-stained cheeks, and I'll never come from for sympathy. If I need a place to run to, if I need a place to hide, if I need a place where I don't need a smile as my disguise. In my heart, blame if I won't blame, yeah.
I need a place where I don't need a smile as my disguise.
Oh, man.
Life of
This-
Agony is the best parts of doom metal and New York hardcore punk smashed together.
Smash them up together. Nice, make yourself a nice little PB&J and jump right into some River Runs Red. Man, that's a great song. I really love the sound of that song, the dichotomy of the pace. Like we will, oh, here we go, 5 seconds. You know, and we're going to, you know, bring it to you. Then we're just going to really slow it down. And
And then
these-
ram it right back up again.
Yeah. And the story of this song is just utterly sad. I mean, it is devastating to read the lyrics and understand what this guy is trying to get across. And if there's one thing that I can say for sure is that the sadness is, it's just, you can't miss it in these lyrics. Everybody can identify with some of the stuff that he's saying here.
Yeah, this song is all about self-loathing.
Yeah, he is upset about the fact that his mom committed suicide, apparently. Now, is that actually what happened in Mina's life, or you told me the story, and I don't know, I can't remember everything, but I know, didn't he have like an abusive father or grandfather or something?
Something like that. I'd have to go back and reread it.
Okay, well, regardless, when you read the lyrics to this song, it's somebody who is just questioning whether they should feel, number one, should they feel responsible for the fact that what happened to their family. And I'm just a bad seed. You know, you feel like a failure as a kid. And I'm sure there's plenty of kids that feel like they are responsible for some kind of failure in their family.
Well, that's actually a very common thing. When parents split up, the most common reaction for the kids, because they're egomaniacs, is to blame themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And that self-loathing, that blame, that guilt manifests itself in a lot of self-destructive behaviors and lack of self-esteem and poor choice making and all the kind of negative things you can think about. It's a very conscious thing that Melissa and I talk about, actually, when, you know, like when we have our less than great moments together. We'll like reflect upon like we would never split up. I don't think so, at least, but we would never split up, but we talk about how when a marriage breaks up, how that affects the kids and how you really have to be conscious of it. And sometimes, like, it might be worth giving, if you can, giving it another shot, because sometimes, like, sometimes, not every time, I'm sure someone will be like, I'm going to tell you where it was better off they split up. Fine, whatever. But I think in many cases, not every case, in many cases, the bad outweighs the good, and it's worth giving another college try to your relationship in terms of how this is going to affect the people around you.
Yeah. We have, I'm sure you have, and I have friends who have, they have relationship troubles, but they are still together because of the kids. Mm-hmm. You see that a lot. They try to stick it out, and a lot of times I look at that and I'm like, sure, that's great. I'm glad you're trying again, but if you're not going to be happy, that's not going to fix itself overnight.
Well, I think the trick is you have to work on things.
Exactly.
You have to be willing. You both have to be willing to make changes. You both have to, be willing to not die on certain hills. Because it's not staying together for the sake of the kids, but not actually doing any of the work doesn't really make a tremendous amount of sense.
That's not going to. Yeah, it's not going to work out any better than just calling it quits.
Yeah.
Are your mom and dad are still together, right?
Yep.
Okay. So my mom and dad separated when I was 2, I think, maybe a little bit older than 2. So that's, trauma, I guess, that I probably didn't really feel, that's something that I didn't have to experience where I blamed myself or thought that I could be.
Yeah, it would be weird if you were cognizant at 2 years old.
Yes. Now, I was just thinking about this earlier today, and most likely it was because of this album. My mom and stepdad, they separated in 2001. And now I was of age, I'm married at the time, so I'm out of the house. So again, that's something that I didn't want to see that happen, but it isn't something that completely affected me because I had my own life. Then I thought about my sister, who was 10 years younger than I was, and she was living with my mom and my stepdad at the time. And I started to realize that I never experienced something like that to where I could potentially feel responsible or have to actually watch one of my parents leave. And my sister did. And I've thought about how that's affected her, and I know it has. But it wasn't until today that I realized, like, damn, that was probably a pretty big thing. Of course, hell, we're 18 years after that's all went down, and I'm a little slow to, the game. Obviously, it's something that really didn't totally occur to me. Obviously, it was a big deal back then, but you don't have the wherewithal in your 20s like you do in your 40s when you're in a relationship and you got kids to understand that, back then my mom and my stepdad had to make a decision as to whether they were going to call it quits or try to continue on for the sake of their daughter. Big choices. Now, to try and tie that back into this song, this is a kid who feels responsible for not just something like that, but something way worse, because there's mention of, the last lyric is, "Am I to blame if I won't face your grave?" Obviously, some real bad shit happened to one of his parents. They keep mentioning his mom, so I think that's who it's. I'm looking at the side notes here, but that's sad. It's really sad stuff, and this isn't something that is uncommon. Unfortunately, this has probably happened to quite a few people. When I was watching the interviews that they were doing with some of the band recently, Mina was talking about how she had a lot of fans, trans fans, come up to her and thank her for the the changes and just being who they were. But not only that, fans just coming up to them about the experience that has been put in these songs and the fans identify with. And yeah, I absolutely can see a lot of people identifying with some of the stuff that this person is going through.
Yeah, Life of Agony, I don't know if it was the wrong time or if they were ahead of their time, or if this doesn't. I think thematically this resonates with more of our culture than people realize. I think the style is a problem. Like, if you just submitted Life of Agony lyrics as a book of poetry, I think people would come to it easier than as it is as a band. I mean, you and I are metalheads. We got it.
Yeah, we understand.
Right. But, I mean, I talk to a lot of people who deal in self-loathing and negative thoughts and come from broken homes and just are just, the struggle is real, as they say.
Yeah, well, it's funny,
but they're not going to listen to fucking Life of Agony.
Exactly. I know so many people that I would just be like, hey, I see what you're going through. Man, you ought to listen to this album. Then I'm sitting there thinking to myself,
yeah, but
they
2
listen,
minutes into
they
the
listen
drumming,
to country.
to 2 minutes into the drumming, they'd be out.
Yeah, I think one of the hardest things to do is actually share music and have somebody listen to it.
Yeah.
We use Facebook a lot, and I throw songs up there every once in a while. But then I watch other people who throw songs up there, and they're like, "Oh man, this is a great song," and then I just keep scrolling. It's like, well, damn,
you know what one of the most popular songs to karaoke is? Friends in Fucking Low Places.
Low Places, yes, sir.
So, Life of Agony.
Not going to be on the old karaoke list anytime soon.
No one's singing fucking Bad Seed to karaoke.
Nope.
All right, let's do the next one here. This is called My Eyes, My Eyes. Perfect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good one right there too.
It's a short one, less than 3 minutes.
Is it really? I think the next one there's one song out of here. I'm trying to remember what it is. I don't think it's this one, where it sounds like we almost have a different vocalist, or at least a guest vocalist. And I know that doesn't happen. At least it's not noted in the wiki. That all sounded like, classic Keith Caputo. That's what we're expecting. Yeah, I mean, and again, it's more of the travel for this author into the dark world of potential suicide. They can't live with what's going on. I mean, you get a glimpse into the mind of somebody that's experiencing something like this.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think if the river run... I keep calling it the river. Let the river run. Wrong one. Yeah. Let the river run red. River runs red. Do you think if it's released today, in today's social climate, with the methods of distribution there are, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, Apple Music, Amazon Music, YouTube, social media, Facebook, Twitter, do you think that if this album were released today, it resonates with more people, it's shared? Do you think it blows up because there's so much... when they talk about the rise in mental illness, which could be a factor of we're recognizing more of it, or we're developing more of it, and maybe the Venn diagram, it's kind of somewhere in the middle, both. But I personally think that The River Runs Red may have been 26 years too soon.
I could see where you're coming from there. There's quite a few, today's, just like you said, today's societal climate is very much about getting in touch with your feelings. Getting having the courage to come forward with your darkest, innermost thoughts. Whether it be suicide or other things. This is something that a lot of people want you to get in a good headspace. This comes out today, and a lot of people are going to absolutely identify with what's being told here in this album.
I think part of the problem was in 1993, your methods of distribution were your traditional roads of getting a rock album out there. You toured, you released an album on a record label. You got traditional rock radio to play you. There was no satellite radio. You did in stores. You tore relentlessly. You try to get on festivals. You try to attach your name to a bigger band. And I think that might have been the problem part of the problem with Life of Agony is it's a series of diminishing returns after this album. Ugly isn't nearly as good as River Runs Red. It's good, don't get me wrong, but it's their last good album for a while.
I want you to also think about the subject matter and the time that it comes out. Mm-hmm. So, can you think you're more of an educated metalhead than I am? Can you think of at the time of 1993 or 1994
in short order, you're going to get Korn a few years later.
Yep, that's true. Definitely there's some discussion about mental illness and some stuff in there too.
I feel like the music that comes from 1995 on is the beginning. Fucking Saliva made fun of it. Click, click, boom. I was crying
to your mama. Yeah.
What's the line? Oh my god, it's so funny. I listened to a podcast called the Popular Court, and they did a thing on new metal, and this kind of drives me nuts because we at least do our level best if we review something that is not really in our wheelhouse. I know the people are like, not your Rings of Saturn. Fucking, we tried, guys. I'm sorry. Sorry I called it mathcore. I clearly don't know what I'm talking about.
I'm sorry I'm ignorant. That's all I have to apologize.
But I think we try our level best with things that are not in our wheelhouse. And, I think also the problem is you and I can be a bit silly pants at times. So it's kind of our default way of dealing with things we're not comfortable with. At least it's for me. But the point that I'm getting to is, they were talking about, they did a whole episode on new metal, and, they talked about, Korn and System of a Down and POD, and, Saliva came up, and they were like, this is the sound, this is musically the equivalent of Mountain Dew Code Red, which I thought was funny. But they actually talked about, Click Click Boom. And, Click Click Boom was the antithesis of all that.
What the hell is wrong with me? My mom and dad weren't perfect, but still you don't hear no crying ass
bitching from me. like the scene used to be on everybody's TV.
Yeah.
That was a response to everything that came before. Again, I feel, and we talked about this with the last Korn album. You got on my case about it. Because here's the difference. I don't feel like anybody in Life of Agony is whining about the state of their mental being. They may be depressed and nigh suicidal, but I don't feel like they're whining. And I'm going to divorce this statement from anything he wrote about the death of a loved one, because that's fucking harsh, and that's not what I'm trying to say. But the rest of Korn, the rest of those songs, and a lot of Korn before that, and everything that kind of comes after the first album, in my opinion, is a lot of whining.
I hear where you're coming from, sir.
So I feel like I feel like Life of Agony just fucking misses the boat. And I think if you released the River Runs Red now, like, I'm hoping, I mean, I don't know if our piddly little podcast is gonna, somehow like blow up and like tell people like, hey, all those angry feelings that you've got, those feelings of disassociation and powerlessness and depression, all those negative feelings that you've got and you're trying to figure out an outlet, something that speaks to you, something that makes you feel a little less alone in the world. Okay, maybe don't go listening to Poppy or whatever the fuck you people are listening to these days. I don't know. JoJo Siwa. I don't know. But how about the River Runs... Fuck, I keep doing that. How about River Runs Red? Maybe try a little River Runs Red. This little band, Life of Agony from 1993. I'm just saying, like, this album needs a second life to it. Which is ironic because they're trying with the Sound of Scars, and we're going to get there. We've got 3 songs left. Mm-hmm. And then we can talk about how not as good that one is.
All right, man. Well, I'm ready for some RESPECT if you are, sir.
Find out what it means to me.
Sing it.
All right, here it is. Respect. All right, what'd you think of that one?
It was good. It's okay. It's not in the top half for me off this album, but it's okay.
Yeah, it's I love this album, and there's not a bad song on here. That's just not their best.
No, sir.
Nope. They could have, as long as some of these songs are, they might have been able to get away with actually cutting that one. It's okay.
I'd raise my hand to vote for that.
All right. Let's move on down the road here. This next song is a fucking killer. Mm-hmm. This album's got all kinds of groove to it. This is Method of Groove. It's the method of groove.
So there's the track I was thinking of.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out, like, did they get another person to do that one?
No, what they had is according to the Wikipedia here,
Yes, sir.
Joey Z and Alan Robert, our guitarist and bassist, are in there. So they're
Yeah.
they're co-lead vocals on Method of Groove. So that's what I remember listening to that one and going, well, wait a second, what's going on here? This was this is not what I was used to the previous.
Yeah, this is jarring.
It's different, but it's still good. I still like it.
It's great. It's just like huh?
Yep. Took me by surprise.
Yeah, indeed. All right, we're getting to that part of the review in the album where we're like, all right, I like it. Move on.
Moving on.
So-
Moving on.
Last one. It's so funny because, like, as many times I've listened to this album, I could get to this part, and I'm like, all right, I'm moving on to something else now. Like, I get to about Bad Seed, and I'm like, all right.
Yeah. Well, you hit that peak. I mean,
Yeah.
when you're like, okay, because the way that it works is nothing else is going to top this. Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
so.
It's a very front-heavy album. Mm-hmm. That's all right. I mean, like I said, not a bad song. Just I kind of wish the goodness was maybe broken up to kind of keep it going, but that's all right. The stain remains. All right. So, all in all, great album.
A+.
A+.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great one, man. It's fun to go back and revisit. I listened to it like 3 times today because you just put it on repeat, and you're going to have I won't say a good time, because if you're really into lyrics, you may not feel that way. But I can tell you that when you listen to the sound of this album, it is something that will get you to feeling like you need to get up and move.
Okay, let me offer a counterpoint to that, because you've said that a couple of times now in different ways, and we can't all be as happy as Jesse Starcher.
No, you can't.
Okay, Jesse Starcher leaves the good life.
Sure. I won't deny that.
And Jesse Starcher's a happy. Sorry.
You're all right.
Jesse Starcher's a happy-go-lucky guy with a good life and a wife and a family that love him. And and he hears sad things, and he's like, "Well, I don't want the sad time picking pinprick holes in my my sunny outlook." Mm-hmm. We all get that. Mm-hmm. But for those of us who have a bleaker outlook on life, who are going through some stuff, When you hear somebody talk about that stuff, it actually lifts you up because you know you're not alone. When you hear somebody take your thoughts that you kept to yourself, you keep them inside, and then you hear them blaring out of your car speaker to, this just pounding drums and twanging bass and soulful vocals, it makes you feel like you're not alone in this world, and it actually makes you happier. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Counterpoint to your counterpoint. Just to support the just how good this album is. All right, Jesse Starcher is a happy-go-lucky guy, and he can listen to sad things that are displayed in this album, but enjoys every bit of it. So it does take every once in a while when I listen to some stuff that has some really heavy subject matter, like to go back to that Korn album. I remember, after reading
that affected you, didn't it? Like that one, you were like, oh, this poor guy.
Yes, yeah. I was identifying with what he was talking about and how extremely sad and upsetting some of the stuff was that he was portraying in those songs. I didn't want to listen to some of that because I didn't want to feel sad. That's not what I came to the dance for. I didn't come here to cry.
Sure.
But the thing is that when you listen to River Runs Red, the lyrics and the topics are so just staggeringly horrific. Somebody who can't get through life and sees that suicide is the only option. And I'm the type of guy that just is like, don't do that. But these songs are portrayed and given to us in a way that is extremely palatable. It's something that I can listen to, understand the struggles of what the person's going through, but actually enjoy what I'm listening to at the same time. That is a testament to how good River Runs Red is.
Our teenage boy is now all grown up. This is 26 years later, and the sequel, The Sound of Scars, takes our story to the next chapter. He lives, Jesse. He lived through that suicide attempt.
That's good.
Is what I was reading prior to the show tonight. So, again, go listen to the whole album. And I'll just kind of give this away. I would recommend The Sound of Scars. It's not a bad album. It's just, I think this is one of those rare things where I'm like, I miss River Runs Red, Life of Agony so much. And it breaks my heart that, like, they created this bit of undeniable magic and then went away forever. Like, they may have existed as a band, but they'll never do this again, and they're certainly not doing it now. And it's like, I almost have to... I mean, look, Keith is no longer Keith. Keith is now Mina, and God bless her for it. And they have a female drummer, and it's 26 years later. I know in 26 years, I'm a different person than I used to be, believe it or not. So, I get it. So, it's like I hear Life of Agony, The Sound of Scars, and I'm like, this might have well have been Ham Sandwich, The Sound of Scars. Because this isn't Life of Agony from The River Runs Red in 1993.
Wow. Yeah, Mina is now 46 years old.
Sure.
So, in their 20s, when the River Runs Red releases, the angst, the anger, it's all there. Mm-hmm. And just like me and you, 20 years is a lot of growing up to do.
Sure. Look, and I don't want to sound like somebody who hates The Last Jedi or anything, but no, I mean, in all seriousness, and I want to get started playing the album, but I hate this about modern fandom. Just as an aside, Thing is not what I remember. Thing is different than I remember. Therefore, Thing is bad.
Yeah.
I fucking hate those people, and I wish those people couldn't get on Twitter anymore or any other social media app.
So, are you starting to see like some of?
No, fuck those people.
Okay, I was just curious.
I'm fighting it is what's happening here because there's a part of me that's going, no. do The River Runs Red again. Make more. Could you just do that song again? Make more of that song. So Slipknot, right? Slipknot does whatever the first album is, but Wait and Bleed on it. And it's great. I love the first Slipknot album. But Slipknot actually got better over time. Well, the third one sucks, but the second album, Iowa, is amazing. And, you know, it made me crave more Slipknot, but I was okay with them, like, evolving and changing. Marilyn Manson, another good example. Marilyn Manson, and one day I really should do we should go back and revisit Portrait of an American Family. Have you ever heard it?
I'm not a Marilyn Manson fan, so that's a negative, sir.
Okay. I think I've told you, like, Cake and Sodomy is a fantastic song. And it's one I must share with you. Just because I need you to be walking around your office going, white trash, get down on your knees, time for Cake and Sodomy. And then get walked over to HR.
That'll go over really well.
Just get escorted to HR. It's fine. But, like, Marilyn Manson, and I think is a really good example of a band who starts out one way, evolves, but I think does so in an interesting way to where, okay, well, they're not doing Cake and Sodomy anymore, you know, but they're doing interesting things, and I don't mind what they're doing here. And I think that's more of the problem. It's not that I'm angry Life of Agony isn't doing River Runs Red anymore. It's that what they're doing isn't nearly as good either. Like, I'm willing to accept it if you've at least gone and done something interesting, something new, something fascinating, you know, something superior. As we're going to hear with The Sound of Scars, it's fine. It's just not. It doesn't even. It's not even ugly good. It's not even. It's not even like the same quality as ugly. It's just a whole other thing. Like, there's parts of it that are great, and I kind of have to hear it again to really, you know, as we hear it tonight, to kind of give it a final opinion on it. So jury's still out here, but my first impression of this is like, wow, this is like. There are some beats, there are some notes that harken back to River Runs Red. So before I even knew it was a sequel to River Runs Red, it felt like a sequel to River Runs Red. But it kind of feels like the modern sequel now, where, you know, they do something of a 20-year-old movie, you know, years later, and it's very hard to capture lightning in a bottle again, and it's kind of a shell of what the original was. So it's not that independently it's not bad. It's just not as good as the original. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, it does.
All right, you ready for some Scars?
Let's hear what it sounds like. Let's hear what the sound of Scars.
Here we go. So I love the music, not a huge fan of the vocals.
Ooh. You gonna mention who they sound like again?
This isn't even the one. We haven't gotten to the Stone Temple Pilots song yet.
Oh, there's I can pick out some Stone Temple Pilots influence here, at least to what it in some part, not all over it. But now when it comes to the sound of, you know, the guitars, drums, all that, I think this is probably the best song off the album. I really do like this one over the rest of them. And I think that they knew what they had on their hands when they released this as a single. Do you have which singles were released in what order off this album in front of you?
No, I don't, because there's no Wikipedia page.
Oh,
for this.
okay. Well, crap. Well, this is the one we covered on the Metal Hammer of Doom Extra, so I know that this was a video. And I dig this one. This one seems to be the one that has a hook that gets stuck in your head, and also
this one evokes 90s Life of Agony.
Okay, all right, and so as it
Minus,
seems like they
minus the vocals.
There's some things here that seem to be like they know what they're doing. Number one, they put it as their opener, so you want to kick it off good. Number two, it's a single that got released, and it's number three. It definitely has a good sound to it. So I think with Scars, they knew what they were doing with this one, and I like it. I tend to really like this one.
It's okay. When I first heard it, I was kind of jamming to it because I liked the music to it. They have a new singer. Their singer sounds markedly different from their old singer. I don't love the new singer. I wish I did. I really do. And I'm saying that in earnest. I wish I heard the new singer, and I wish this was like a Nightwish experience. Where I'm like, I don't even care that Tarja left.
Yeah.
This new singer kicks fucking ass. Mm-hmm. And like you get that with, certain bands where, somebody leaves the band and they get replaced, and it's like, oh, it's great. Sticking with just like singers who've left, I've definitely heard like new singers in a band, and I'm like, no, this is fine. I'm fine with this. I'm really like, I'm agonizing, no pun intended, over this. Because because every fiber of my being is like, why don't you love this thing? Why don't you love these vocals? I just don't.
Well, when you compare them to River Runs Red, it's a little pitchy. Different. It's different, way different. It is nowhere near the baritone, soulful.
But I don't even need that. There's a tonal quality to the vocals I'm not in love with. It's a little whiny.
Got it.
And you know me, I don't like I can't deal with pitchy, whiny, high but not operatic. I just it's. I was reading some reviews and they kept like comparing it to grunge, and I'm like, yeah, this is what drove me crazy with Life of Agony to begin with.
Ouch.
You know what I mean? Like, stop sounding like you're part of the Seattle sound. That's not what I'm here for. And these vocals kind of evoke. So it's like this weird amalgamation of like 90s Brooklyn, New York hardcore Life of Agony with doom elements that I love, and the vocal range of a Seattle sounder. Ugh. Just yuck.
Things have changed, Mark Radulich.
I'm allowed to say Mina Caputo's vocals are not great, in my opinion.
I can't disagree with you when it comes to your opinion. I mean, that's how you feel. That's how you feel, dude.
Yeah, like no, and I'm not criticizing you. What I'm saying is, like, someone might like, oh, what you got a problem with me? No, I really fucking don't. I just don't like the woman singing. I don't know what else to say. And I hate that because I want to love this band so much. I want to be like I'm not such a sycophantic like that. Like, I can't be like, everything they do is great. No. Too hypercritical. Like, I see things a certain way, and I can't. Can we get Captain Yarface?
Oh, my gosh.
Can you imagine?
No. There's no way that this man, there's no way that even the thought of suicide would enter Captain Yarface's mind.
I'm Captain Yarface, and I've got scars.
And that's specifically from the shark that bit his face off.
All right, moving right along. Speaking of Captain Yarface, this is Blackheart.
Can't
That one's not bad.
Okay. Yeah, I mean...
Again, you know, I'm hearing my old Life of Agony, and actually the mix on the vocals hid a lot of the whiny pitch from the first one, so I actually didn't mind that one in total.
Yeah, I think they're keeping the pace up here. This isn't, you know, this is probably in the top half for me when it comes to my favorite tracks off of here. I remember waking up a couple of times with this stuck in my head, so you know, it's either got to be good or it's it's very repetitive. It's good. It's decent. So yeah, I'm all right with it.
My daughter's getting to the point now where everything we do embarrasses her, but my son's still in that fun age where he accepts my stupidity.
Okay.
So this morning, we had ourselves a poop deck party.
Oh, all right. Threw that shit in the air.
Yeah, and my wife was into it, and my son and I were dancing, and my daughter was like, just fucking kill me.
Did you roll up to the school and drop her off with that blaring?
I will.
Next step. The next step.
She's performing tomorrow night. I'm going to roll up in the school. Throw your shit in the air.
I cannot drop my daughter off at school with the volume at like 3. And it doesn't matter what I'm playing, okay? It can't be above 3, which is barely audible in the car itself. And it doesn't matter if it's a podcast, doesn't matter if it's heavy metal, doesn't matter. No, can't have. Even her own music. For some reason, she's afraid of other people hearing her own music. I remember going into the fucking school and having my music like cranked all the way when I pulled in. But nope, things have changed, Mark Radulich. Things have changed.
To paraphrase Mr. Marilyn Manson, I wasn't born with enough middle fingers. I didn't give a shit. All right. I'm obnoxious. All right, this next song is called Lay Down. But that reminded me of another song, and I'm having a hard time placing it. But, okay, so the vocals, I think, match the song better on that one. This wasn't as jarring an experience for me as the previous 2 songs, to where half of it sounds like Life of Agony, and the other half of it sounds like a singer from a different band. Lay Down, I felt, was a more complementary sound between the singer and the rest of the band.
Okay. And
while it was definitely evocative of another song I've heard before, and I'm having a hard time placing it, it rung familiar bells for me. This isn't the one, by the way, that sounds like Stone Temple Pilots, but at least not that I can recall. Like I didn't feel like I got that until a little bit later, maybe the next one. But this one I think has traces of the Life of Agony I love and remember, but there's something new going on. So it's probably of the 3 that we've heard so far, it's probably my favorite one yet.
Okay. Well, one of the criticisms that I heard when I was listening to some reviews, they had talked about how some of this was lazy songwriting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, Lay Down hopped into the word counter. Okay?
Okay.
So I'm going to give you one guess as to the most repeated words throughout this song.
Lay down.
Okay. Would you care to guess how many times Lay Down is recited?
50.
48.
I was close.
You were damn close. 48 times in one. How long is this
You're
song?
making me feel like a dummy. Almost 4 minutes. Like, I love this song. It's so good. It's the best song on the album. It's got 2 words in it.
It legitimately, if you look at the lyrics, it has Lay Down 48 times throughout the song. Okay, so Lay Down, Die is used 16 times, and then wow, it's just like I like the sound of the song, but really that is a testament to like you don't have much to say here.
There's a video for it, by the way.
That's great.
All right, I'm going to dispute you on this.
Oh, dispute away, sir.
Okay. I'm not going to say the phrase "lay down" or "lay down and die." I'm just going to read the rest of the lyrics to you.
The rest of them. Oh, okay. Can't wait to hear it.
Ready?
It's going to be like a 30-second song.
Shut your face. Take what you want. Let me go in peace. The last thing I want is to live on my knees. See? That's power right there. It's powerful.
Mm-hmm.
The rest is up to you. There's nothing left to prove. The scars that bind us are all we ever knew.
And pause for 5 minutes. And
Shut your whore mouth. Strip me of whatever you might need. These possessions never define me. Hey, weren't you talking about needing to minimize your house? This song's for you, man.
Yes, I'm feeling it now.
The rest is up to you. There's nothing left to prove. The scars that bind us are all we ever knew.
Oh, you're repeating yourself. Oh, okay. You want to talk about minimizing? How
Fuck
about we
me,
minimize
dude.
this
That's all the rest of the song. There's literally one. There are two verses in this entire thing. Take what you want. Let me go in peace. The last thing I want is to live on my knees. Strip me of whatever you might need. These possessions never define me. The rest is all repetition.
Ooh.
Whatever.
Yeah, you showed me, Mark.
Whatever. I'm retarded. I like simple music.
Sir, I'm telling you right now, the word counter says there are 246 words in this song. Readability level, lower than 4th grade student.
I'm fine with that.
I know you'd be, sir. Oh, wow.
I like my music like I like my women retarded.
It says unique words, 23% throughout this song. There are, wow.
I feel like music is too heavily laden with lyrics.
So does Life of Agony.
Shut up.
Look, I understand. It's whatever they're saying here. It means something, but it definitely
and it means something in a very short amount of time.
Are we comparing this to River Runs Red and some of the fantastic lyric writing that was happening in that? This pales in comparison.
You're not wrong.
Pales.
I think I was so happy that I didn't hate the sound of it.
Okay.
I almost forgot that the song is almost 90% repetition. Okay, moving on. This is Empty Hole. Okay, so other than the fact they blatantly ripped off Vaseline,
Ooh, man.
so
oh,
if
man.
you can live with the fact that they ran away with the, they ran away with the, they took Vaseline and Life of Agony it up. I actually like that song.
Yeah, that's. I remember starting the album.
Stop
and going,
remembering the '90s, Jesse.
I remember starting the album, and I was like, I could tell immediately there were some influences, or at least what it felt like influences.
Oh yeah,
of Stone Temple Pilots.
There's totally, like I said, a Seattle sound. Like, I hate this fucking word, but grunge element to it.
The other thing is that I was watching the 2005 documentary. There's like a little half-hour documentary of like their reunion and the next album that they were going to drop on YouTube, and they're at a I don't know, they're at like a little, it looks like a cookout or something, and I shit you not, in the background is playing Stone Temple Pilots. I was like, well, obviously they they gravitate towards that sound.
So like I said, like after Ugly, this fucking band like looks around and goes, hey, you know what's popular? Pearl Jam. Let's do that, and lost me forever.
Poor Mark.
And all the rest of their fans.
I like Stone Temple Pilots. I like Pearl Jam. I like Alice in Chains.
Yeah, you can like shitty bands. It's fine.
Yeah.
Jeremy broken crash through.
So that's I remember the last album that we reviewed by these guys. We were comparing them to another sound that they sounded. They clearly seem to be influenced by, and I hate to say that because they're 26 years ago they were so unique. I mean, you take that 26-year-old album and you put it in today's environment, it still sounds unique.
I think the most heartbreaking thing for me to reflect on in terms of bands and music is when you know a band was capable of art next to God. And they can never do it again.
Yeah,
lightning in a bottle, and then it's gone.
You have to understand that it's a testament to the fact that you have to be appreciative of where you are at right now, because they may not have something. The band that you love may not have something. Could you imagine if Clutch never tops like the last album that they did? I have my favorites.
Let's go back. How about it never gets better than self-titled? When you think about what they've created since then, what they've created since Blast Tyrant, but it never gets any. Let's just say even Blast Tyrant's like the height of Clutch, and it never gets any better than that. How devastating that would be. Yeah.
I guess the only argument that you could make, because I really do like Blast Tyrant, and I consider it probably my favorite album by Clutch. I mean, the only argument you could make is that Clutch is able to have a unique enough sound and evolve to where you kind of may not know what's coming out next, but whatever it's going to be, you're going to know that it's something that wasn't like what was before, and you can appreciate it.
Well, that's why Clutch is the best band in the history of rock, and I know I say that sometimes just to tweak people's nipples, but I'm being 100% serious right now. They really are the greatest band in the history of music, and here's why. People are like, wow, that's some fucking hyperbole there. Because Clutch never stops reinventing, and Clutch never stops topping themselves.
That's right.
I can't think of another band that I can say that about. I can't think of another band that doesn't have like lulls. Like Clutch never has lulls. What's the worst fucking album? The one with Sleeve Stack Lightning?
Scimitar, or not Scimitar, Minotaur, Scimitar, or whatever it was. What is that? It's not Slow Hodel China. It's not that one.
Something Cousin. Strange
Cousin from the West.
Yeah. Maybe that's like maybe their worst album ever, and it's not bad at all.
Yeah, you can't find too many horrible songs on there.
Right. I mean, when you think about
I want to go back. I want to go back and listen to it now.
Well, I think my problem with Strange Cousins from the West was it was like That's okay. You know, like, there wasn't anything bad about it, but it's the only one I can't say topped another album or was, you know, was overly inventive or just, you know, redefined what Clutch was or brought an element that I didn't expect. All the other ones do, especially since Blast Tyrant. So, all right, so we're off on a tangent now. People are just like, I came to listen to Life of Agony, fuckos. All right. For the attention deficit crowd out there, here we go. This is My Way Out. Okay, so the mix was so much better. This is getting better. The mix was so much better on that one. And when Mina adds a bit of a rasp, I think she then negates the whine in the pitchiness. And there's a sound I'm really enjoying there. So My Way Out. And then again, I like this new drummer. She knows how to beat those skins. And so, you're right.
Got the sneezes all of a sudden. I don't know where the hell it's coming from.
God bless you, brother. So this one was that perfect combination of the old school punky Life of Agony elements with Mina's vocals.
Okay. Well, I don't feel like there's a whole lot of standout for me in this song compared to the rest of the songs that we've heard already. Here's the thing with this album. I've listened to it, I think, 4 times back to back. It caused me to sneeze a lot. It was crazy. Let's just hop over to some reviews real quick. I'll give you a couple quick reviews. Consequence of Sound gave Life of Agony: The Sound of Scars a B+.
They did. I read that one.
Mm-hmm. There was a review. Damn. Whew, there it is. All right, that's the last one, I promise. Where was the other one? Oh my goodness, yes, Ghost Cult Mag gave it 8 out of 10. There was a review I watched. Oh my goodness, I wish I could remember who it was. That gave it a 2 out of 10.
Oof, it's a bit.
It was rough. I lied. That was my last one. And then let's see, what else do we have here? Cryptic Rock gave it, I saw 44. I was like, 44? Had 44 shares, my bad. Cryptic Rock did not give this a number, but I can tell you that their final paragraph says, a diverse album with alternative metal arrangements featuring hints of sleaze rock at times, and even some old school grunge. The Sound of Scars is everything you would expect from Life of Agony. A dark collection of songs that are lovable and enjoyable. This is a concept album that tells a story without fairy dust and dreams. That's classic Life of Agony. Raw and dirty. Oh, hey, Cryptic Rock gives The Sound of Scars 4 out of 5 stars. Okay. 4 out of 5 scars? Oh, my goodness. Oh. Jiggle my balls. All right. That Jesse, he's an ignorant son of a bitch.
One comment.
What's next? Oh, it lives with me to this day.
Oh, Jesse. Do you wonder how I get through life being as, like, I don't give a shit as I am about stuff like that? You know what's funny? Like, that random guy comments on our podcast and, you know, is upset because we didn't spend enough time on his favorite band. I'm like, whatever, blow me. The possibility that the guys in our chat started a chat without me that I'm not involved in breaks my heart to this day.
Oh, yes.
And I don't know if they did. I don't want to know if they did, because it'll make it even worse.
Oh.
But I think they did. And that bothers me.
So many comments, Mark Radulich, for you to don't even worry about half of the shit that they could even be talking about. I'm sure it's fucking world breaking in your opinion on the matter. But
no, that's the problem. Is I'm sure I don't want to be involved in it either. But
that's the thing.
But here's the thing: I have the no homers thing in my head.
They would appreciate you that much less anyway if you were involved. So it's like they don't appreciate you enough, Mark Radulich. Damn it!
Oh, thanks, Jesse.
There you go.
Do you know the no homers thing?
No homers. I know no homo, but I don't know no homer.
Well, get a meatball cut it 4 ways. No homo. That was an Elijah Schlesinger joke.
Good. I haven't heard that one.
Okay. She's talking about tapas. No, the no homers thing. So Homer, I think, joins like the fucking. Where's Robert Winfrey when we need him? He joins like a Masons. It's not the Masons.
Oh,
It's
okay.
something else.
Okay.
And he fucks it up for him, and then so they reform the club, but they call it the No Homers, and he's like the only one excluded.
The one guy that can't be there.
So like you're upset. So random nobody insulted us, and I'm like, who gives you shit? Guys I know may or may not be excluding me, and I'm like, ah. So
Oh my gosh.
I know I don't want to be Homer,
Oh.
and not involved in the no homers club that may or may not actually exist. All right, I'm an asshole. Let's move on.
No homers.
No homers. Here we go. This is Eliminate. All right, so let me say something really nice about this album so far. The drumming is probably the best part.
I've heard quite a few people agree with you. They actually said that the drumming is probably some of the most powerful that they had heard in quite a while.
Yeah, the drumming is driving this album for me. The vocals are like roller coaster inconsistent.
Mm-hmm.
They're just all over the fucking place. And I wasn't in love with the vocals on that one.
It was really interesting. I watched a video of the drummer. I think it was actually when they were doing the it was like a 6 or 7 Making of Scars video. But anyway, the drummer kept the message when the band called her and told her that she got the job. So I don't know how many people they went through, but the message, the band called her and said, "We don't even want to look at anybody else. We want to bring you in." What
She's
is her
good.
name again?
She's fucking good, man.
Trying to find her name here. I want to say it starts with an M, but I'm completely off. You said it earlier, and of course,
No, I didn't.
You didn't say her name.
No.
Okay, well, the Veronica Bellino.
Okay.
That is her name. So anyway, yeah, she does a great job. Stand out. I don't know what acts she was associated with. She doesn't have a Wikipedia page, so I don't know if she's got other bands under her belt, but she is doing a fantastic job here on this album.
Yeah, she is. She's, like I said, she is evoking a lot of the memory notes for me of old school Life of Agony. I think Life of Agony, Sound of Scars is successful when they draw upon their punk roots. Mm-hmm. I think they get lost in the sauce when they try to do that more alternative, grungy Seattle sound thing that drives me right up the fucking wall.
Not your cup of tea.
But the irony of that is, like I said, I love, what is it, Empty Hole, where we were like, Vaseline. Like, that's the funny thing about it. Like, that is the most blatant ripoff of Vaseline. But it's also, like, got that, like, chaotic drumming at the beginning of it. So it's just like, hey, something new, something new, something new. Vaseline, something new, something Vaseline. Like, it goes back and forth. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, this is, do you really, or you just want to, like rattle it, shut up?
No, I hear you. Trust me.
All right, this is Once Below. Yeah, it took a while, but we finally got a Life of Agony song.
Huh.
I mean, even with the new vocals. Like, that one's so good, that one's so evocative of River Runs Red that I'm like, okay, see, that's what you should have started the album with.
Consequence of Sound, they list in the bad section, they do the good, the bad, the verdict. It says, for as strong as the band sounds on the dynamic and hooky material here, the flat-out speed of Eliminate and gang vocal hardcore chorus in Once Below feels slight by comparison.
Zip. Right there.
Well,
put your mouth on my penis, Consequence of Sound.
Well, here's the thing. You were looking for something that sounded or evoked River Runs Red. And I agree with you. That does. It's not River Runs Red material, but it's definitely...
It's not River Runs Red material because that's not Keith Caputo singing.
Yeah. It's a...
Take
it's
a breath.
Shadow of it.
Take a breath. Hear that same song again, but imagine, you don't walk with me. Mm-hmm. I will walk alone.
Yeah.
Come on. Do I got to play it again?
No, I hear you, sir. I do. I do.
That's Mina Caputo, not Keith Caputo, and it's a different vocal styling, but that's Life of Agony. Mm-hmm. And if you don't like the, what do they call it, gang vocal style?
Yeah.
Then you don't like Life of Agony. You don't know what you're reviewing.
It seems to be, though, that this is a diamond in the rough. You know, it's this
song?
is some. Yeah, I mean, why not have something like this all throughout this album?
I would have been happy if they just started it with this. You know, I mean, we're into the B side of this album here. We got like 3 songs left out of 10, not counting the skits, and it took this long to get. We had to get through such a weird place. Like I said, for me, this is like the exact opposite of the River Runs Red, where it's like bottom heavy, not top heavy.
Yeah.
Like, it got better as it went along. You know, it starts off a little bit. It starts off very shaky, and it gets more solid as it goes on. I think Mina's vocals become more tolerable as the album goes on.
Okay.
So
I think that's fair.
All right, this next one is called Stone. See, that's a more mature... See, that's the kind of song I would expect on an album like this. Like, that's Life of Agony growed up.
Okay. Yeah, I think this is probably in my top 3 off this album. I
can see that.
I really do enjoy this one.
I could see that.
There's plenty of... I mean, we haven't really talked about the lyrics throughout this album, and it is very much a sequel to River Runs Red when it comes to the subject matter, because just about every song is bleak, and it's somebody trying to deal with some type of, life issue or trauma. And this, again, is exactly that. I mean, I need a place to be alone, sinking to the bottom like a stone. Go where it's quiet, must be gone. Weather against me, the wind blows hard. I mean, this is all very much somebody trying to, just deal with what life is throwing at them and finding a safe place to go and just trying to figure shit out.
Yeah, I identify with that.
Non-stop, man, sinking to the bottom like a stone, like a stone, like a stone, like a stone.
Like a rolling stone.
Like a rock. What other stone-based songs do we have?
Every rose. Sorry. No. See, God punishes me whenever I go off topic. It makes me cough.
Apparently, man, I've been suffering for the past 10 minutes. I had a sneeze attack, and now I can hardly breathe. I don't know what's going on.
We should end the podcast before both of us fucking asphyxiate.
Becoming a life of agony over here.
Yeah. All right. This is Weight of the World. That is potentially a good song. Let me tell you the story of that one. I played it, and I'm jamming, and I'm like, I'm thinking to myself in the back of my head, I'm like, wow, I remember hearing this in the car while I was driving, and I'm like, yeah, this back half of the album is what made me think, without having done the research, this is totally a sequel to River Runs Red. This is totally evocative of River Runs Red. Then Mina starts singing, and I want to drive into oncoming traffic.
So...
the vocals sucked on this one. This was so, this is I love the lyric and I love the music. I just wish they'd had a better singer for this one.
225 words, Mark Radulich. All right, I'll read to you the stuff that is not repeated. My head is low, the antidote is arm's length out of reach, but all in all, those chemicals can't kill hypocrisy. The flame inside that burned so bright, too faint, now hard to see. The storm, it came and washed away. What's left is meant to be. Every word after that is repeated 18 times. The weight of the world is coming down on me.
But I identify with that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Just like I said before, these are songs that are very, they're sad. They're very emotive. And you can identify with what this person is going through. This author of this song is actually going through.
Yeah,
it's sad. I mean, it really is. I am a happy-go-lucky guy. I don't know if I've ever suffered from depression. I can tell you that, with my dad passing recently, that is something that has affected me pretty greatly, and I've wondered about my headspace sometimes. And I can tell you that, with some of the shit that's been going on recently, I do feel like the weight of the world is coming down on me. Now, I know there's a lot of other people out there in this world that have it worse off than I do. And I'm sure that this song is probably a beacon of light. And just like you said, somebody who is going through this needs to know and understand that there is somebody else out there that is going through the same stuff. As basic as this song is, I like it. I don't, the vocals don't bother me, and that.
Do you normally like whiny music?
The vocals don't bother me. That doesn't really. I like Alice in Chains. You hate Alice in Chains, and I compared the last album and the vocal style.
I hated
similar.
everything after Dirt.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that. I think that
Men should sound like men.
Why you even went there, I have no idea. Especially with the current climate, the current album, the current singer. I don't know why.
Because you brought up Alice in Chains, and that's the first thing I thought of.
Oh, okay. All right.
No, Mina sounds fine. Not picking at Mina at all.
Okay.
Honestly, you said Alice in Chains, and I had fucking PTSD from that last album.
Well, man, the lawyers, they still have our name somewhere.
Yeah, they do.
Guarantee it.
That's why we don't advertise this podcast on Twitter anymore.
Yep. It's about to, I'm wondering about YouTube, too. Just because. But, yeah, I mean, I like this one. And you know how one of the things you'd said about how the sound of the song is usually different from what the lyrics are. We've talked about that already. This is a very good representation of that. So if we're going to say it harkens back to River Runs Red, where we have a different sound of the song compared to the lyrics that are obviously in the depressing part of the depressing section of things, that this is another example of that. So
if we get any comments about this, it's going to be somebody yelling at me for that men should sound like men remark that I was directing specifically at the new Alice in Chains album.
Ah, gotcha. Okay.
But that's all anyone's going to hear.
Yep. The one most inflammatory thing that you accidentally did not mean to say, and it is going to be misinterpreted.
No, I meant to say it. I just wasn't talking about Life of Agony.
Yeah, it'll be misinterpreted.
Sure. That's me, Mr. Misinterpreted.
Yeah. They call me Misinterpreted.
Last one of the night. Let's go. So I surrender.
Rock and roll.
I surrender, Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
In this room, broken, bruised, hide away, tears of shame, I refuse to believe you can be my enemy. Every night, every time we're together, I surrender. Every night, every time we're together, I surrender.
C+. I can't give it a B. There's too much not good. There's a lot of good. There's too much not good.
Yeah.
And and after having heard the A plus that is River Runs Red, I can't in good conscience give this anything besides a C plus.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like that's with a little bit of I don't want to. It's like grading on a curve. Like I can't. It's Life of Agony. I can't give him lower than that. But it's not. It's not great. It's not as good as many of the albums. I mean, here let's do. It's our last show, man. So let's do it.
Whew. So, yeah, I gotta agree with you here. When we compare it to the previous album, it's just there's
I didn't love the last one either.
Well, yeah, but I mean, okay. When we compare to the previous album of this, I don't have it in front of me. I can't remember what it's called. But I think this is a step up, in my opinion. I like more off this album.
This is better than the last one, which I didn't love either.
Yeah.
It's just not as good as I was hoping it would be. All right. So we did Soil Work for Heighten, Papa Roach, Who Do You Trust, which I loved. I thought that was great. A Pale Horse Named Death, which I really liked, if I remember correctly. Beast in Black was awesome. Avantasia Moonglow was fine. Dream Theater, I think I wanted to kill myself by the time that was over. Clean Strike the Verdict was okay. We did the Dirt Sound.
I just remember. I'm starting to go through all the things that we got shit for that one. 'Cause we had a comment about how we talked about the drums in the Queensryche video, if I remember right. It was either that one or maybe it was another one. But go ahead.
It might have been Dream Theater.
Dream Theater, that's the one. Yep.
Yeah. Motley Crue's The Dirt soundtrack was like one of my favorites of the year. Mm-hmm. Well, that's basically the best of Motley Crue and The Dirt. Children of Bodom, it was okay. Mm-hmm. I don't remember that being great. Overkill, The Wings. I fucking love the new Overkill. Welcome to New Jersey, you fuck.
So the one song that I really enjoyed.
The new Twar was fine. Battle Beast was amazing. Whitesnake Flesh and Blood was fantastic. Eluvidi was okay. Mm-hmm. Sworn Enemy we had a lot of fun with.
Yep.
Allegion.
I liked it.
Good for you. Oakley Dokley, Howdly Toodly, we had a blast with that one.
Yep.
The new Rammstein I think we liked.
Yeah, it was a fun discussion. I think we came out of that with a positive review.
You painted your entire house in semen over Glory Hammer.
That was a great album and a great introduction to a band that, man, oh man, I'm sorry I've missed out so far. On just recognizing them now. I wish I would have known about them 3 years ago.
Amon Amarth was okay. The Texas Hippie Coalition sucked.
Multiple Man. The Mogwai of metal.
Shut up! Sabaton was amazing.
Yes.
We had fun with the L7. I think it was okay. We were more making fun of the band than anything else.
Oh, yeah.
It was fine, though. Oh, God, the new Volbeat. Woo! Mm-hmm. Got a lot of listens, by the way. That one.
I have not revisited that album.
Yeah, we liked it more than the Basketball Chains one, but not by much.
Basketball Chains.
We liked
that is not the song, but that's great. You combined the two worst songs off of that album.
Battleship Chains, that's what it was.
Battleship Chains. Because the other thing, there was a song on there about a guy playing basketball. I remember that.
Like Rebounds or something like that.
Yes.
Slipknot was good. The artist Moida was not your cup of tea, but it was good for what it was. Ray of Light, I was in love with, and like I was telling somebody was like what? Somebody contacted me on Twitter, like, what are you into music wise? And I'm like, EDM combined with metal. Have you heard of Ray of Light? Mm-hmm. That's my big takeaway from 2019. Was Ray of Light was amazing. The new Killswitch Engage, I think we said was good. You loved Korn. I was not a huge fan. Hell Yeah was okay. The new Steel Panther is amazing.
1 and 1A.
Baby Metal was good. Lacuna Coil was good. As I Lay Dying, I think we agreed was good.
Yeah, I will listen to that album after I get off the podcast with you. I really love that album.
Rumahoy and Steel Panther are like my favorites this year.
I think Rumahoy is probably, it will be. When we finish this out and we talk about it on our final discussion there on our year-end show, we will be talking about the top albums of the year, and I think that's going to be it.
Yeah. Dragon Force was fine, and then that's it. Oh no, Rings of Saturn.
Wait a second. You got to get them where you jit them.
So it was better than Dream Theater.
Yeah, I'll give it that. I mean, yeah, I will.
I feel like I just went through that list. Now, I don't know how closely you were listening, but how many of those were like, it sucked, I hated it? Okay, so it was better than Dream...
Avantasia, I don't like Avantasia. I just cannot get into them.
Okay. Okay, but the ones that I thought like really sucked were Dream Theater and the Texas Hippie Coalition and Volbeat.
Texas Hippie Coalition, I remember us having a little bit of fun with that one. Volbeat, okay. Gosh darn, I'm trying to think of some of the... I mean, okay, so is this better than those three that you just said?
Yeah.
I will agree. I will agree with you that Life of Agony's Sound of Scars is better than those. Here, let's divide it into quarters. Do you think that this would be better than the bottom 25% of what we like this year?
I didn't hate that many albums. A lot of them were just okay.
You got to rank them all, though. You got to rank them. You got to see what's at the bottom.
No one listening to this wants me to rank them right now.
Well, you don't have to. I'm just saying you got to put it in your head. 25%. If you were to rank them, is this going to be in your bottom 25%?
No.
Is it going to? Okay.
Oh no, I'm just like, yeah, it's going to be in the bottom.
Okay.
Because here's the problem: a lot of what I just ripped through was fine. This isn't fine. I have problems with this.
Okay.
I have a lot of problems with this. I think there was potential here. I think it could have been great, but I'm let down. And it's still better than their last one.
Yeah.
That last one broke my fucking heart. This one got closer to where I need him to be, but still there's work to be done.
Not unlistenable, though.
No, I don't think I'll give it another listen, but it's not unlistenable.
Okay. All right.
Unlistenable.
I miss Uncle Al.
Shut. Feces.
Oh, man.
Nickelback. All right.
I wouldn't give you a penny back.
So, for those of you who tune into the Radulich and Broadcasting Network for only the Metal Hammer of Doom, never say goodbye. Never say goodbye. But we're done for the year. The next time we'll bring you a show will be New Year's Day. On a New Year's Day. January.
Is that U2? Are you singing U2?
Yeah.
Okay, thought so.
Our next show will be January 1st, and we'll be doing our year-end special. Our year-end special tends to be we're kind of revisiting some of the stuff we really liked from the year, but also the stuff we missed. So me and Jesse will figure out what the format's going to be. In the past, it's been, we split the difference between about 10 or so songs, and I usually pick 5 or 6, 4, or whatever, depending if Robert's with us. Winfrey, Cooper, that is. And I'll pick stuff we haven't gotten a chance to talk to. Just a quick rip through like my playlist. There's a new Scissor Fight album that was really good. There's a new Quiet Riot. There's The Blind Guardian, which we dropped from the schedule because it was an orchestral album. New Stray from the Path, Ginger, Macro. There's the Mayhem album we were gonna do, but I had to rearrange the calendar. We never talked about Opeth. We dropped KMFDM off the calendar because there was no time, and Jesse needed to get him jit'em.
I should have never got him.
There's a new Cobra and the Lotus, a new Sonata Arctica, Elven King, Visions of Atlantis. There's a band that I learned in the category of like baby metal. There's a band called Iron Bunny that I wanted to talk about. The new Sacred Reich is fucking amazing. The new Crowbot's really good. There's a band called Twilight Force we never talked about. We didn't talk about the new Hammerfall, Grand Magus, Roadsaw. So I think that's it. I can't remember if Rock Goddess and Frozen Crown were this year or last year or not. Yeah, I think these might be some of the older ones. But so there's like a shit ton of stuff that I just read that are like that I've been saving that I would love to talk about. We just never had a chance. Like we just ran out of time. Mm-hmm. So I'll pick a couple of those and we'll play them on here, and Jesse will do Jesse stuff.
Yeah, I'll figure something out.
Jesse will Jesse.
I will.
In the meantime, in between time, you can check out The Crown Season 3, Gotham Central, Book 2, Jokers and Madmen. We did a new boxing podcast, talked about the history of Jack Dempsey. Last week we did Teen Titans, Knives Out, Get 'em Jit 'em, Lady and the Tramp, Teen Titans Season 2. We did coverage of Overeem versus Rosenstrike, where Rosenstrike fucking split Overeem's face in half.
It did not look pleasant at all.
Gross, wasn't it?
Ugh.
Tomorrow we're going to dust off Long Road to Ruin. It's our holiday show. Myself and Sean Comer talk about the Santa Claus trilogy. I've been watching those with my family, so that's been a fun experience.
Awesome.
We got some boxing coverage this weekend. We got Ortiz Jr. versus Solomon on DAZN. I'll be joined by John War for that. But the hits just keep on coming, baby dolls, because we got UFC 245, Usman versus Covington. We're going to do some coverage of that as well. Next week, short week for us. Only got 3 shows for you. 4 shows. We got Runaways by Rainbow Bright, Roel, and Lurkey. Well, Damn You Hollywood for Jumanji 3. We'll do a TV party for Runaways. You ready to shove another one into your brain hole?
Oh boy, am I ever.
It comes out this Friday the 13th, baby.
I need that 2-speed Netflix / Hulu, whatever.
Yeah.
Need it.
So we're going to do Runaways on the 18th. And myself and Chris Bailey will review WWE Tables, Ladders, and Chairs. Oh, my.
Oh,
my.
Oh, my.
Oh, my. And then that's it, because Star Wars is the 19th, and then I'm fucking off to Disney.
Ooh. Off you go,
that?
sir.
Yes.
How about it?
How about it?
You going to go play at that Star Wars place they have over there?
I don't fucking know. Gonna
Get in the old Millennium Falcon and pilot it around?
tell you what, I'm going to get him jit him.
No, damn. Well, walking into Disney with that attitude, they'll kick your ass out.
I'm done talking now.
He's done talking. Boy, it's been a marathon tonight, buddy. We ended our final show on one of the longest shows I think we've done all year.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
for sure. So, ladies and gentlemen, go give the Radulich in Broadcasting Network Facebook page a like to stay up on top of all the great podcasts that we have to offer. All sorts of stuff. All sorts of... Man, am I wheezing? All right. Check out, we've got comics, we talk wrestling, we talk TV, we talk music, and we talk, just about anything you can think of. There's probably a show on it. So go over there, give the Radulich and Broadcasting Facebook page a like, and you'll most likely stay on top of anything and everything that drops on the network. Just recently, we did an Unspoken Issues, it's me and Chris Armstrong, where we discussed Amalgam Comics. Don't know what Amalgam is? Well, let me tell you. Amalgam is DC and Marvel mashed together. That's right. 2 characters combined into one crazy amalgamated version of that of said characters. So JLX was the comic that we discussed for the Unspoken Decade, and if you like Amalgam Comics, give that a listen. Other than that, Mark Radulich, I am ready to get out of here and go to bed.
All right. Jesse's ready to get him jit him.
I will. I will get him with all my. I'll get him with all my jit him.
Thank you for joining us on this extended Metal Hammer of Doom, the last one of the year. If you don't get to hear us again, let me wish you all a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, a Happy Hanukkah, a Mad Kwanzaa, and whatever the hell else you celebrate this time of year. And for you atheists, be well, be safe, and behave.
decorating with Dunkin'.
Hey, your desk looks great. Really festive with all the decorations.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, this Dunkin' Peppermint Mocha Latte gave me a little pick-me-up, and I decided to go for it.
Whoa, you even lined your desk drawers with musical lights?
Yep, and look what's inside. A Dunkin' Gingerbread S'mores Latte for you.
Get holiday in a Dunkin' with a $2 medium latte, cappuccino, or Americano from 2 to 6 p.m. The holidays run on Dunkin'. Price and participation may vary. Limited time offer. It's decorating with Dunkin'.
Hey, your desk looks great. Really festive with all the decorations.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, this Dunkin' Peppermint Mocha Latte gave me a little pick-me-up, and I decided to go for it.
Whoa, you even lined your desk drawers with musical lights?
Yep, and look what's inside. A Dunkin' Gingerbread S'mores Latte for you.
Get holiday in a Dunkin' with a $2 medium latte, cappuccino, or Americano from 2 to 6 p.m. The holidays run on Dunkin'. Price and participation may vary. Limited time offer.